Hey everyone, Brook City Brown Chick coming at you with another episode. And for this week's short, I want to talk about what I am calling the erasure of the 14th Amendment. Now, I have heard a lot of journalists and political pundits and all sorts of professional people talk about the decision the Supreme Court made on June 27th. So if you need a deep dive into the actual decision, please listen to one of those folks. What I want to talk about today is what their decision could lead to. So a couple weeks ago, we talked about what are called the Amendments of Reconstruction. These are the three amendments that were written in the aftermath of the Civil War to make people more equal. Let's put it that way. So the 13th Amendment is the amendment that abolishes slavery. The 14th Amendment is the amendment that talks about who can be a United States citizen. And the 15th Amendment is the amendment that prohibits federal and state governments from denying a citizen the right to vote. So those are the three amendments of Reconstruction. What the Supreme Court effectively did in its decision was to say the administration can sign and issue whatever kind of executive orders they want to about whatever, and that federal judges do not have the right to issue a nationwide injunction. And again, if you want this in more detail, please listen to Joy Reid or Tabitha Speaks Politics or the I believe it's Clay Shane show. Those are all people who do a really great job of breaking down what the decision actually means. But again, I want to talk about what this can lead to. Each of the amendments of Reconstruction are important, but the 14th Amendment is the key one because it is the one that says who can be seen as a citizen and who can't. One of the big issues that this administration has decided to tackle is something called birthright citizenship. That's a phrase we've all heard thrown around for months now. What does that mean? That means that any person who is born on U.S. soil is a United States citizen. That's, in a nutshell, what birthright citizenship is. This administration has made it its goal to either overturn the 14th Amendment or modify it significantly so that American citizenship would not be automatically bestowed to someone just because they were born here. This is highly alarming because this is one of the tenets of the Constitution. So the fact that this administration wants to prevent certain people, and by certain people, let's all be real and clear about who they're talking about, black and brown people, not white people. We're talking about black and brown people. They want to be able to have a say over who from those groups gets to be a citizen and who from those groups does not get to be a citizen. So this is very serious and very drastic. When this case was argued before the Supreme Court, I remember a whole host of lawyers and reporters and political pundits saying there was no way the Supreme Court was going to side with the administration. But on June 27th, that is exactly what they did. And it was straight down ideological lines. The 6 conservatives voted in favor of the decision, and the 3 liberals, Justice Kagan, Justice Sotomayor and Justice Brown Jackson voted against this case. Justice Sotomayor and Justice Brown Jackson both wrote scathing dissents of this decision and laid out very clearly and very plainly what this can lead to. So let's look at the language of the 14th Amendment so we're all on the same page. The 14th Amendment defines citizenship, guarantees due process and equal protection under law to all citizens, including formerly enslaved people. So that is what the 14th Amendment says, and that is what it does. So if we, as a country, allow the 14th Amendment to be fundamentally changed, America itself will be fundamentally changed. The piece about due process and equal protection under law, that is huge. That talks about things like if you are arrested for a crime and you don't have money to hire a lawyer, due process says you must be issued a public defender, a lawyer who works for the state you live in, or the county or the city, depending how your state is set up. You must be given access to a lawyer who will fight for you, regardless of whether you have money or not. If we change the 14th Amendment, that piece will definitely be changed. There has already been some talk in this administration about wanting to get rid of public defenders because of how much they cost the government, and they just think this is insane. So we are talking about taking away people's voting rights, people's right to due process, to have a lawyer to defend them, and their basic rights as American citizens. This is not a joke. This is not hyperbole, and this is not overreaction. That is what this administration is working to do. They want American law to be used as a bludgeon against people of color, against Black people, and against brown people. It is not shocking to me because it was very clear to me during the first round of this administration what this president wanted to do, but there were guardrails. There were people in his cabinet with enough experience and enough sense to tell him that he could not do the things he wanted to do. For round two, he hired a bunch of sycophants. He hired a bunch of people whose only qualifications for their jobs is that they are loyal to him. They are not loyal to the country or the Constitution. They are loyal to him and will do anything he asks them to do. So make no mistake, we as a country are in very serious trouble. Now, I have heard a lot of people over the last week or so say things like, well, I'm not an immigrant, so this doesn't have anything to do with me, or I was born here, my parents were born here, my grandparents were born here, this doesn't have anything to do with it. Does have to do with you. Because if the 14th Amendment is changed or gutted, there will be horrendous consequences for everyone who is not white. I am going to say this as bluntly and as clearly as I can. Over the weekend, the president, while doing his victory lap over this decision, said the following: the 14th Amendment was written for and about the children of slaves. Those are the words he used. He did not say for descendants of slaves. He said for children of slaves. He is always very specific in his language, so I took that statement to mean exactly what he said. What that means is he does not think or believe the 14th Amendment should apply to the descendants of slaves, which most Black people in America are, because none of our parents were slaves, right? We are the descendants of slaves. But he said the children of slaves. So everybody better start listening very carefully to the words he used, because those words are going to get turned into action. They are going to get turned into cases. They are going to be used against Black and brown people who are American citizens, no matter how many generations your family has been here. So for all the people saying Black people don't have to be worried about this is just about the immigrants, you are wrong. Completely wrong. The people running this administration are hateful and nasty and vengeful, and they want to carry out the president's revenge, even though none of us specifically did anything to him. He is a racist, and he wants his racist vision of America carried out. And so what that means for those of us who are Black and brown and sort of everything in between and not white, we need to get ready for what's coming. And that is going to look different for everybody. Does that mean you're going to take your family and move out of the country? Does that mean if you live in a red state that you're going to move to a blue state and hope you have more protection? It's going to look different for everybody, but everybody needs to have a plan, because we are 7 months into this administration and we are already talking about the significant modification or the flat out elimination of the 14th Amendment. And what that also means is all the laws and regulations that were outgrowths of that amendment. Things like the Fair Housing Act, the Civil Rights Act, the Voting Rights Act, Title IX. All of those are outgrowths of the 14th Amendment. So make no mistake, this administration is coming for the citizenship and the rights of everyone who is not white. And everyone who is not right better be concerned and better have a plan, because this is going to be a disaster. And since the Supreme Court has made it clear they're going to side with the president, we no longer have any protection. We have no guardrails. We have no one fighting for us. The Supreme Court is not going to fight for the American citizen. They are going to fight for the president and what he wants, and they have the votes to do it. So just understand, as bad as things look now, they are going to get significantly worse. And you don't want to wait until the day a decision is made that strips away your rights to decide you need to plan what you're going to do. You need to start making that plan today, right now. I want to thank everybody for listening this week, and I will see you again next week. Take care.